Day 34 of the war in Iran marks the most serious escalation yet in this conflict. A second U.S. warplane crashed in the Persian Gulf near the Strait of Hormuz. That pilot was safely rescued. The Pentagon confirming that crash happened around the same time a fighter jet carrying 2 crew members was shot down over Iran. Tonight, one of those F-15 pilots has been rescued. We don't know his condition. Search operations are underway right now for that second pilot who is still missing tonight. Meanwhile, Iranian state media reporting that citizens there are being offered a reward for the capture of that pilot. Joining us now to discuss is NBC military analyst, retired 4-star Army General Barry McCaffrey. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Good to be with you, Joyce.
So, General, 2 planes down in 24 hours with one of those pilots still missing. Help us understand just how serious an escalation this is.
Well, first of all, we don't know what anti-aircraft defense systems have been delivered by Russia since the start of this campaign. We know they're sending in drone attack drones. They may well have also sent in some anti-aircraft missile systems. But clearly, Iran still retains the ability to use gunfire, 20-millimeter cannon, man-pads, man-portable anti-aircraft missiles to engage U.S. and IDF aircraft. So it's a dangerous environment. These F-15Es are incredible aircraft, 1,500 miles an hour, low-level attack aircraft, a pilot and a weapons officer. But, the saying used to be big sky, little bullet. That's no longer the case. So country of 90 million people.
We lost your audio for just the very end of what you said, but we have you back now. I do want to ask you, how would Iran likely use the capture of this U.S. service member as leverage?
Well, I've certainly heard some ridiculous statements today from pundits on TV that this is a strategic victory for Iran. That's a silly statement. Obviously, this pilot, if alive, and I pray that's the case, and if captured, and I pray that's not the case, we have a very complex, incredibly well-trained air-sea rescue capability that's going after downed pilots. And so we can only hope that they don't get one. But if he does, he'll be a bargaining chip. But the large issues of the war, opening the Strait of Hormuz, getting fissile material, 1,000 pounds of it out of Esfahan, deep underground, those questions are not going to be answered by this capture of a pilot. So the big issues are on the table. Trump got himself in a box. The most successful air-sea campaign in military history, but with the straits closed and the nuke program untouched, he's in a strategic box right now.
And as you know, this week, he told the American people on Wednesday that, quote, we have beaten and completely decimated Iran, that this is going to be over in 2 to 3 weeks. So in your view, what is the reality tonight that we should understand?
Well, I think tactically, it's been an air-sea victory of astonishing proportions. But again, what's our strategic goal? If it's stopping the nuke program, Trump right now is desperate. He doesn't have a clue what to do. He's trying to walk away from it and say whether the strait's open or not doesn't matter. It does matter. It's going to drive up the global cost of oil and natural gas and fertilizer. And clearly, we're not going to, unless he has lost his mind, take military ground forces and go in and try and seize and hold Natanz and Esfahan for 10 days to dig out the fissile material. So strategically, what has he accomplished? What more can he do? He's in a box. I think both sides are in such Trump with a political box he's in, and the Iranians with devastation. We can only hope that drives a negotiated end of this conflict in the coming weeks.
And then meantime, how concerned are you about some of the rhetoric we're hearing coming from the administration? There's been talk about sending Iran back to the Stone Age, blowing up bridges, power plants, water supplies. Those sound like war crimes, but that's what we're hearing coming from the administration.
Well, to be honest, I think the Secretary of Defense and the President frequently sound like comic book tough guys. I mean, it's inappropriate language. And by the way, in diplomacy, you don't threaten people in public. If you're going to threaten them, you do it in private. So they're stepping all over their own war aims by the way they talk about this, and certainly gloating over Iranian war dead is unprofessional and harmful to trying to terminate this conflict.
And then I don't want to forget to ask you what we know is also happening. Hegseth this week firing his top generals as the 82nd Airborne is being deployed there to the Middle East. What does that mean and why does it matter?
It's a stupid move. General Randy George, the Chief Staff of the Army, wounded in combat, Ranger Battalion experience, revered inside the U.S. Army. Modest, humble man, tremendous good judgment. I think he was essentially fired, not just for cautioning about using ground forces inside Iran, but also over Hegseth, who has gone after black, brown, and women promotion systems, trying to so-called eradicate DEI. You know, I got to remind people that 18% of the U.S. Armed Forces are women, and we're stronger because of it. And 31% of the armed forces are minority. So his actions in taking people off promotion lists are not only illegal, they're weakening the armed forces.
And then given that shakeup and the current state of the situation in Iran, what does this all signal to our American allies watching from the sidelines?
I think the Europeans in particular, but also Japanese, South Koreans, Australians, think we have lost our mind. It looks as if we have a government that has no clue what they're doing. They're outrageously abusive to our economic future in Europe, Japan, and Korea and Australia. He's an ally, it seems, public ally of Putin's invasion of Ukraine. I think we're in a period of enormous danger from a national security viewpoint.
And then finally, and I guess I need a short answer here because I'm almost out of time, but I'm curious what you're going to say. We've all heard this saying, never underestimate your enemy. Have we done that?
Well, absolutely. That's law number 2 of warfare. Don't despise your enemy. The Iranians aren't bluffing, and I think poor Mr. Trump is.
General Barry McCaffrey, it's always so great to have your insight. We're so lucky to have you on our program. Thank you for being with us once again tonight. We appreciate you.
Good to be with you, Joy.
And we will be right back.